Yeah.
So we are going to talk about Speak No Evil next. So I have only seen the American remake, but you've seen both the American remake.
I've seen both.
And the 2022 Danish-Dutch original. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to compare the two. I think we might talk a little bit of spoilers about this film if we are comparing the two, because from what I've heard, it's just the ending, right? That's fairly different. I guess
there's some little minor things,
yeah.
and like basically the feel of the movie.
I guess I'm talking more narratively, right? Like the ending is where it's different.
The plot is mostly the same, yeah.
Basically, it follows a family who meet another family on vacation, and then when they get back from vacation, they are invited to stay at a remote farmhouse together, and it turns out that the family that they met is crazy. A bunch of murderers, and the situation escalates from there. So
very simple plot.
Yeah.
If you really think about it. I'd been wanting to watch this movie for a while, the original one anyway. But I heard that it's a very bleak movie. So I was waiting for the time when I was in the mood for it. So I watched it with like 3 friends and a bunch of beers.
Yeah.
And that was actually a really good viewing experience. Because it kind of mitigates the bleakness of the movie. I think the remake is not bad. I think it's a fine movie. Is slightly better than the other Blumhouse stuff, maybe.
I think it's a pretty simple movie that is greatly elevated by the performances of some of the actors in it.
Yeah.
As particularly James McAvoy. He's just killing it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the original is, without a shadow of a doubt, far superior in like a lot of ways. When I finished watching the original film, I thought there's excellent performances. Its themes drive hard and its sense of dread is very apparent. It's very palpable. But by the end of the movie, I was like, I'm not sure if I liked the movie that much, because it is like such a downer ending, which is not the case for the remake, which I kind of expected because it's a Blumhouse American remake. But I mean, if we're talking about the performances between, like, I guess the McAvoy character, like the...
So James McAvoy in the remake plays the patriarch of the murder family.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yes.
He's Paddy in the...
oh, yes. He's British in the remake.
Yeah. It's funny because when I watched the trailer for the original, I was like, oh, Patrick seems very underplayed. Like, he seems like someone that you could actually hang out with. And I think that's kind of what is lost with the McAvoy performance.
Okay.
As entertaining as it is, the red flags are very immediate.
You reckon? I don't know about that. Like, you mean when they meet them on holiday?
When they meet them on holiday, it's just like he's like an asshole to the that Danish couple that talk about
but the American couple didn't like them either. So
but like, I know they're both jerks, but the way he kind of pulled them out on that is kind of like, you wouldn't like say that shit. Whereas there's stuff that Patrick does in the original movie where it's like, it's kind of weird what you're saying, but it's quite grounded. It's quite naturalistic. Because a lot of the original movie is you like yelling at the screen saying, don't do that, don't go. Just don't. Like, you're all fucked. And the one big difference I noticed in the remake, when he goes back to like look for the bunny. Oh, well, there's a bit where it's like, the red flags had kind of built up in the movie, and they're like, "Nah, we're leaving."
Yeah,
so
it wasn't to the point where you know that they're murderers yet, but
they're just like,
they're weird, and probably you want to get away from them quickly.
But like,
and they're driving away, right?
They're pretty much they're out of danger.
Yeah, and then the daughter realizes that she's left her comfort bunny, her stuffed toy at the house. So she kicks up a fuss and forces her parents to go back and get it. And that was a point in the remake where both me and my partner were saying, you're fucked.
But like the thing is, what they change in the remake is, in the remake, it's like the son finds it, but in the original, like, he goes back and he goes into the house, and then the daughter like is like, oh, it was like under this chair. And then that is just like, oh, you fucking like, you little bitch. And we're all just saying, oh, it's the rabbit is the real evil person. Like he planned it all, that little bastard. And then I was just like, I kind of like, you kind of lose that a little bit.
Right.
And you lose a lot of the score. Because I think in the original film, there's a lot of surprisingly like unsubtle like horror stings over like very mundane scenes happening.
Okay.
Just like of them traveling, of them like waiting on a boat or something where they're not doing anything.
So kind of like a Kubrick's The Shining situation.
Yeah. Actually, that's a very good way to put it. Yeah. Whereas, in the remake, there's not that much to telegraph that. Because I guess it's all telegraphed in McAvoy's performance, which he does like steal the show, but it's also like it's hard because they're trying to do something different, and James Watkins is the director for the remake, and he has his own like bleak, feel bad horror movie. I think it's called Eden Lake, which I haven't seen. It's about like the couple that go on holiday and they get like harassed by chavs.
Okay.
And that also has like a pretty bleak ending. So I think the director that they got is probably very competent to do this kind of movie.
You're going to blame Blumhouse, aren't you?
Yeah, of course I blame Blumhouse because I think this movie, the remake ends up being too generic with how much lighter it feels rather than like the heaviness of the original movie because the performances are so like naturalistic.
Yeah.
But the tension and the shit that they do, that like the red flags, it just feels stronger. Like when they go to the dinner and they like have a dance. Like in the remake, it's like, oh, it's a pretend blowjob. But in the original, it's just like a dance. And then, he makes him pay. But then they skip the scene where he's like driving home like drunk and he's just playing music too loud. And that's like what triggers them to like just leave. Like they want to leave on that first night. But also, I found the performance of the normal dad, Ben.
Scoot McNairy in the remake. Yeah.
I'm not sure if the performance... I wouldn't say the performance sucks, but the character sucks. Like, he's just a whinger and he just complains all the time. Whereas, like, in the original, the complaints and it's all, like, bottled in... like with a smile.
Right.
Like I don't know, because like in the remake, he makes a massive deal about like his daughter wanting a bunny.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like that's not like a thing at all.
Well, because I haven't seen the original, but I think the remake is kind of like a little bit of an exploration of toxic masculinity as well. So I think that's the reason why his character is like that, because, you know, he's got his own like version of masculinity, right?
It's a very American thing to do.
Yeah. But it kind of tracks with the characters as well. Like it makes sense that he would be would gravitate towards James McAvoy's character because James McAvoy's character says what he wants to say. You know, he wants to tell this Danish couple to fuck off or whatever, but he can't. So like... yeah, it kind of tracks with their characters, I think.
But he does that in the original, but without it, like, being as, I guess, overt, I suppose. Because you kind of do, like, want to be, like, this other guy who's more free. But I think there are points where he does exert himself still when, like, they hit those points of red flags and he, like, really, he speaks, like, his mind.
Right.
Because there is a final confrontation in the remake where he's like useless.
Yeah. Well, let's talk full spoilers now. So we'll talk about the ending from here. Yeah. So the main difference from my understanding is that in the original, the bleak ending is what they go with, where the couple gets captured and stoned to death. Is that what happens?
Yeah, that's what happens. It is really like it's so grim because the movie. It's not a violent movie until the last, like, 10 minutes of it. So what happens in the original is, like, they get caught by Patrick and the wife, and then, like, the mum's trying to reassure the daughter that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But, it's not. And then, like, the babysitter comes and they grab her, and then, like, the wife is, like, holding the tongue out, and she, like, cuts the tongue off. And then, like, you kind of see it, and then it's just, there's a lot of blood. And they kind of make a subtle nod where it's like James McAvoy is like, oh, when they're revealed to be serial killers, oh, we use like veterinary ketamine because like they flail around too much and it makes a bloody mess.
Yeah.
Whereas like that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
And then you know the scene where McAvoy, I guess, takes the dad to like that area to scream and to let out all his rage. So in the original, he takes him there, and like the way that the sound design shows it, like they're screaming, but it's really, really quiet. Like you can't actually hear the scream until there's a cut to like a close up.
Yeah.
So what happens at the end is he takes them back to this exact field because what he wanted to illustrate is that no matter how much you scream, like no one is going to hear you.
Yeah.
So like they just kill them, stone them to death.
Right. Different from the remake.
Yeah, and there's one thing that I liked with the remake where it might not have worked in the original, but the boy is not obviously McAvoy's son because they just kidnap kids to make them their own kids, right?
Yeah.
So he tries to warn the family a bit more, whereas like he doesn't really do that in the original.
Sure.
He's kind of like, just there. But the dancing scene is so hard to watch in the original because in the remake, I think that I'm not sure if the kid actor was like good enough, but he kind of turns around so you can't see him cry. But that scene goes on for like, I want to say a long time in the original, but it's kind of excruciating that the way that the father, because it's not overacting, it's very like, again, it's naturalistic, so it really feels quite vicious, I think.
Right.
Yeah. And in the original, Patrick just kills the kid, just drowns him in a pool.
Jeez.
So when the dad discovers like that they've been killing families. So it's not the daughter that discovers it.
Yeah.
In the original, it's the dad. So that's why he wants to leave. And then, he just comes across the body of the kid just floating in the lake, in the pool. And it's grim. The thing is, I can see like the reason to make Speak No Evil the way that the Blumhouse did it. Yeah. Because it's a much more palatable
It's way
film.
easier to watch, it seems.
It's way easier to watch.
Like, so the ending of the remake, the family doesn't get killed. They escape into the house, and then the murder family has to kind of try to siege the house to get to them and silence them, right? And the good family manages to fend them off and escape, killing the murder family in the process.
Yeah.
So it does take a bit of a turn into like almost a Home Alone-esque style.
And like the thing is, it's fun to watch. I don't think it's bad either. Like I don't think the remake is bad. It's actually out there, like probably one of the quote unquote better remakes out there. It does capture the same themes. Yeah, I would say it has the same atmosphere, just much lighter, which unfortunately, I guess it kind of sullies the point of the traumatizing ending of the first movie.
Yeah.
Because I think it's you would get a lot more out of the first movie, even though it's harder to watch. But sometimes, like, you got to take the bitter pill because, and this is what the original director, what's the
Christian Tafdrup.
He criticized the final act of the remake.
He sure did.
Says, like, I don't know. Yeah. He said, I don't know why Americans always have to see that like good triumphs over evil all the time. Because I think sometimes you probably need that stark reminder that evil will just prevail. And it's a hard lesson. It's kind of like, fairy tales, like, all the Brothers Grimm shit, all the Hans Christian Andersen stuff. And then Disney came along and made it their own, and then that's become the simulacra now. It's overtaken the original
look at this
message
guy.
of the original.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I've been well rested today. It's overtaken the meaning. I think that's what the term is. I could be wrong. Someone put in the comments there, you don't know fucking English, you stupid. But I think as a piece of entertainment, the remake is just fine. You'll forget about it because nothing spectacular really happens in the movie. It's kind of like, there's a bit of a scuffle. And I was saying before, the dad in the remake is just useless.
He doesn't do anything, huh?
Yeah, the wife does everything.
And I feel like that's also That like adds to that, that commentary on toxic masculinity, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, let him do something.
Well, the kid does something, doesn't he? He smashes James McAvoy's face with a rock.
The kid does something. The little girl does something. The wife does something. But the man, he's just useless.
Yeah.
And I don't think the writer it was intended to this, but it is just it is a pattern in Hollywood to like demasculate.
I did enjoy when he tried to get the guy with that hammer and he just failed.
Yeah,
that was pretty fun.
Failed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed. I hated the character. He's just like he just kind of stumbles across everything. Like the daughter tells the mother about the thing. Yeah, that's fine. She can tell anyone. But then it's like, oh shit. Well, I guess we gotta go. And then he's just like. He never really like calls the shots, I guess, which is their commentary.
Yeah, I kind of like it in a sense. It's a bit real, It's kind of like, what would you do in that situation kind of thing, Like,
but the wife is so much more competent than him, though.
Yeah.
Like, way more competent.
Yeah.
Like movie hero, like action movie hero.
Yeah, she's the John McClane of this story.
Yeah, she's a John McClane. Yeah,
and fair enough. I think my wife would also be the more competent one in that situation. That doesn't mean I'm useless, Darby.
Yeah, but I think it's just like that kind of the meekness is played just much better in the original because I think. Some people said it's kind of a commentary on like Danish friendliness, where a lot of people just don't really want to say what they want to say. Because I mean, like the movie is called "Speak No Evil," so obviously, like, don't say anything bad. This is a good movie for all those people that say, "If you got nothing bad to say, don't say anything at all." And then it's just like, oh well, unless you get killed and stoned to death, and your daughter gets a tongue cut out and ends up being part of another cycle of serial killers, and she'll eventually get killed by the family. Yeah, so it's just going to keep continuing. Yeah, but yeah, it's just if I was the husband in the remake and I was just a guy that didn't like anybody, I wouldn't want to go hang out at James McAvoy's place. The guy looks crazy. Like, look at him, this guy's crazy looking.
He really reminds me of a friend that we have. Like that guy.
We'll go hang. Yeah, I think when we go visit them in the UK, is like
pretty sure.
Yeah, we'll get.
They live in a town like this as well.
Why are you doing this? Because you let me.
I don't know.
That's a long con. 8 years.
It's a real long con. Yeah.
It's a long con.
I mean, like I honestly didn't have any knowledge of the original film going into this remake. I found it to be a pretty entertaining film, albeit like, maybe it's a bit forgettable. And but yeah, pretty fun.
I think it being forgettable is kind of not good in a sense. Because like I've been thinking about the original movie for a while now because it's like, damn man, that's rough. Like geez, like it's so bleak. I think it's obviously the original.
I think a bleak movie is something that you kind of have to be in the mood to watch as well. Whereas the remake is probably something you could watch anytime and be fine with it.
But I actually had a lot of fun watching the original with friends because we were just like yelling, like especially like the bit where they're back with the family and then they're kind of airing out all their grievances. We were just saying, just lie, just say you got work, you got work the next day, work cold, man, just lie. But obviously, with the commentary about how like friendly and nice you are, like, and how much they struggle to lie because they'd be speaking evil in a sense as well. But no, definitely if you're, the original is not for everyone, but I would highly recommend at least watching it once because I think it's it'll change you. I think. Yeah.
It will probably make you think twice about going to visit that friend that lives in the countryside, and that friend that you kind of know well, but not that well. All right, Darby, shall we move it along?
Yeah.